thing I did also want to kind of get into is, your recent Series A, which, congrats on that, by the way. So, you have some,
Thank you.
some pretty awesome investors that you have on board, like Insight Partners and Founders Fund. So, could you maybe share a little bit more about, what the fundraising journey has been like?
Yeah, I think as a business, we're extremely attractive in some ways. We're extremely unattractive in other ways. So it's kind of this like there's just cognitive dissonance when you talk to an investor and they're like we've got this like, you know, cool, experienced founder, massive market, cool product, like clear pain point, like and everybody I know would use this, an obvious product market fit. However, like, you know, low frequency, high CAC, operational, like super risky business. And it will seems risky to them because we're dealing directly with contractors in the build. Um, so, it really like what we found. So one of the rounds we did, we talked to something like 30 venture firms. And out of the 30, 15 of them just like didn't even engage. Like they saw what we were doing. They wouldn't even take a pitch meeting because they're like, oh, I don't do home improvement. I don't do construction. I don't do low frequency. I don't do high OV, like whatever it was. They just wouldn't even take a meeting. Of the other 15, maybe 10 of them we pitched and then they just like walked away because they saw like anything complicated they saw about it. They're like, yeah, that's too much for me. I can't really handle this. Um, and then maybe there were five or so left that actually liked kind of what we were doing and had the stones to like take a look at it and like consider investing and like saw the market for what it is. And they knew it'd be a bumpy road, but they're like, we believe in this. They had the vision. Um, and then of those, like maybe some of them didn't like the numbers and we got term sheets from others. So like the guidance I would give if you're in a business anywhere like mine is just cast the net super wide because some of the best fundraising advice I've gotten is that there's investors that will just like what you do and there's investors that won't. It's like dating. If you date somebody and they break up with you, it's not because you're a bad person. Like you're fine. It's not the right fit. And I think people don't view investing that way. They view it like getting a grade in school. It's like, did I get an A or a B? Like I remember when we raised our Series A for Gigster, we were pitching these like tier 3 VC firms, like with just weird sounding names and crappy, dingy offices. And like, they'd pass on us. They just sit back in their chair and be like, yeah, I don't think this is going to work. And then we pitched Andreessen Horowitz and Mark Andreessen like stood up, got out of his chair. And like, I didn't even have to talk anymore. He told the whole room, like he answering questions for me about the business. He called me 30 minutes later with a term sheet. And then like all these other amazing firms invested as well. So sometimes like a tier 1 investor who's just like smarter and better and like more like risk on than like a tier 3. Sometimes like a tier 1 will get you and be more willing to invest than a tier 3. It's not a strict ranking of like, if your startup isn't good, you're not going to get any, you're not going to get any tier 1s or 2s, but you'll get a tier 3. It's pretty random. So you do have to like, get an understanding of who the investors are, cast the net wide, find the people that actually like you and actually like what you're doing, like what you're doing. And then some subset of them will be willing to write a check.